The Corvette E-Ray has left a lot of people scratching their head. And at some point or another, I think at one point for a short window there, I think I probably was like, why would I buy this? But it took me to actually do the work. I had to experience it, and I think it took me to own a 23 Stingray, a C8 Stingray, to really understand why I would want to buy two E-Rays at this point. Because once you've owned a Stingray, you know the potential that it has. I see a lot of people pro-charging, supercharging, just putting a lot of money into their Stingrays because they like to modify their cars. And, are they saving money by doing it that way? Only they would be able to tell you that. Basically saying like you take a Stingray and then you add another 50,000 to it, because this is what people won't tell you. It's going to take at least 40 to 50,000 to even get these cars where you want them to be as far as performance goes. So personally, I wouldn't do that. I would rather I'm done modifying cars, so to speak, at that level. I used to modify cars. I would do a full exhaust and like really get into it earlier on in life. Now to the point where I'm not wrenching on cars. I don't have the desire to do it. I'll pay someone possibly if it's just something I really want to do. But essentially, you'll hear some people that might comment and say, well, I can take a base Stingray and beat this car with these add-ons. But what they don't tell you is what that costs. So pre-owned Stingrays are like 65 maybe with a decent amount of miles. And if you want to get a new Stingray, there are 26s right now that are marked down 10 grand already. So you can get a Stingray 1LT, no options pretty much, or if you can find them on sale with options, yeah, but you can get one basically for 65. They don't cost 65, but a lot of them are discounted down already. So you essentially could get a Stingray 1LT for 65, or just any of the Stingrays that are in the lower trim packages for about 65 before taxes, right? But I think once you get past 600 horsepower, it's a lot. It's a lot for the street. And that's just a lot. I guess once you get past 400 horsepower, it's a lot for the street. But when you're talking about performance cars, going past 500 horsepower, that's a lot for the street. And that's already plenty fast. But once you get into that arena of speed, and if you're a person who's addicted to speed or just want to have it at your disposal, it's a never ending cycle. So for me, after owning a Tesla Model S Plaid, I realized speed really wasn't something that I just had to have. No one was beating me on the road with that car, even though they tried. It just wasn't. It almost became boring. It's bad enough the cars are quiet. The electric cars are quiet. And it just almost became boring knowing that if somebody ran up next to me, they couldn't beat me. It had to be a really fast car to beat the Model S Plaid. And that's just a fact. So owned that car for a while, sold it. I was like, I'm bored with this really. It's not really interesting like I thought it would be. Because I was trying to combine cars, like sports car, and because I actually owned an E-Ray at the same time. And I was like, I'm on this E-Ray, this will be my fun car, and then the Plaid will be my daily driver. But I realized I was driving the Plaid a lot more than I thought I would. And speed just became numb to me after driving that car. So when you look at Corvettes, you see a lot of Corvette owners dump $40,000, $50,000 into this car, and I wouldn't do it that way. I would just go straight to what I would consider to be fast. And like I said, you consider what you think is fast. Personally, this car behind me is extraordinarily fast. It is really fast. Today I saw a video of it racing a red eye, which is like 800 and some horsepower on a tire. And it lost. It ran a 10.5, I think it was 10.55. And that red eye ran a 10.2. It was on a slick. So I'm not mad about that though. Not mad about that at all. Because that car is supercharged. And it is spitting some fire. That is a fast car. I don't think the car was stock. It was already on a tire. Because it launched very well, and the red eyes are really fast. But it felt good knowing that, you know, that E-Ray owner didn't do anything to their car, and they just got on the track and went down the track and ran a 10.5, I think it was, or something like that, 10.85. I don't know what it was, but it lost to a very powerful car that had way more horsepower by just a little bit. And if that car wasn't on a tire, if that red eye wasn't on a tire, it would not have beat the E-Ray like that. Full confidence. Conditions and everything play a part. But to me, that just speaks volumes of what these cars, this car in particular, can do. And I think it's an engineering marvel, really, to be able to drive this and know that I have this type of launching power at my disposal. I have this type of horsepower at my disposal, and it's enough. It really is enough for me. And I think when you start to look at the different trim levels within the C8 lineup, you got the entry-level Stingray. They all have the same engine, the same type of power. C51 package adds a little bit more, but still ultimately the same. Basically, the rear end of this car is the same power as the Z51 package. So then you get into the E-Ray, and then you get into the Z06, then you get into the ZR1, and then you get into the ZR1X, and that is where it stops for now. I know that this is enough power, but I really, seeing as though I had already owned an E-Ray, that's really the only reason I sold my 24 E-Ray, was to get a ZR1. Somehow in my mind, I really believed that I had the best negotiating powers to where I could go back to this same dealer who sold me my E-Ray at MSRP, and they would sell me a ZR1 at MSRP. And hey, I was wrong. But going back to the E-Ray, and I was without a Corvette for probably 3 to 6 months. And all the cars that I got in between, well, it was only one car I got in between there. I just had the Mustang in between there. That was a fun car, but it just wasn't a fun car. I love the manual. I think the exhaust on the Mustang, the active exhaust, is off the charts. However, it lacked the, I don't know, I didn't feel like I was having as much fun as driving this car. I don't know what it is. So once I realized I couldn't get a ZR1, I said, I'm going back to an E-Ray, a car. I'm not going back to a Stingray. It did cross my mind. I've said in multiple of the videos that it crossed my mind to go back to a Stingray, convertible 3LT. But I just felt like it got so high up in price. I would rather just get a new E-Ray and get more power, a better looking car, in my humble opinion. The better tire set, just the all-wheel drive, just all of it. I just felt like it was the move. So I don't regret getting another E-Ray. At the time that I bought this, there was a stop sale. It was about, I had this for a month, about a little over a month and a half now. There's a stop sale on the Z06. But when I bought the Z06, when I bought the E-Ray, I think the stop sale was ending because there was a guy there picking up his Z06. It was Z06 that was sold right there for him. And it just hadn't become public yet or whatever, I don't know. But even in my initial video that I showed the delivery of this one, it's sitting on the showroom floor next to my, that was a Z06 Red Mist, and it was sold. I believe that was a Red Mist. Yeah, it was sold. The guy was coming to pick it up. So I don't regret buying a E-Ray again at all. If I can't have the ZR1, I don't want anything else. And I definitely want the ZR1X. But you know, it's just gonna come down to what you want in your Corvette. All the complaining aside, all the comparisons, all the videos about, oh, they're not selling, Corvettes aren't selling. Those are just videos to draw people in for views. That's simply what they are. But for me, I'm in it for the enjoyment. And the reason I don't regret getting another E-Ray is because this time I feel like I got to upgrade. Now, even though my other E-Ray had more options, it had the front lift, it had about $9,500 in options. I don't feel like, and this car only has one option, which is just the color that actually cost. It has two options technically. It has the interior, but it didn't cost anything because it's a 2LZ. To get the natural and get more of the doors covered and everything, that doesn't cost anything because it's a 2LZ. You can get the natural you can't get the natural in a 1LZ for some reason. When I clicked in there, it lets you get the gray and not the natural, but that's fine. But this has the natural with the red mist, And those are the two options that this car has, but it's a convertible. So this is why I say I got an upgrade, because I genuinely can appreciate the two things that I thought I would not, coming from the 1LT that I ordered in 2022, which is a 2023. I thought it was a gradual move. So I started with a 1LT, and I talked about a lot back then about how I don't need this. I don't need a 2LZ. I don't need the blind spot monitor, because at that time I made it work. I really didn't. And I was comfortable with that car. However, after having that car, I ended up installing some fans up there in my garage because I realized I didn't have the extra cooling of the D51 package. And that 1LT used to heat up my garage for some reason. Also, it's the direction of the sun from my house. A bunch of different factors go into it. But I definitely, once I got rid of the 1LT and then I got the E-Ray, that in itself was a major upgrade for me. I ended up going to a 2LZ, because remember, my original build was going to be a 1LZ E-Ray. I'm not going to lie, it was. And it was just going to be a basic coupe. It was going to be red mist. That's what it was going to be, just like my current Stingray at the time. But it took so long on the list to get that car, I ended up just jumping on that 24 carbon flash metallic E-Ray. And that opened the door to a lot of things. It opened the door to the 360 camera system, the video camera in the mirror. It opened it up to the 2LZ options that were there. It opened it up to the air conditioned seats, the blind spot monitor. It opened so many doors that I just felt like I wasn't going to need or wouldn't be interested in. Thus, current day, I didn't shoot for any kind of 1LZs this time around. It was going to be that way on the ZR1, but it had the 1LZ ZR1 is a 1LZ ZR1, so it has a ton of functionality and features that are there. But this car being a 2LZ with a 360 camera, and then it's a convertible, which is why I feel like it's a major upgrade. Nothing against the coupes, but I kind of have adapted now to having the touch of a button and it just drops down. It's an amazing experience. You can't, once you go to that one button, this isn't my first convertible, obviously. You've seen other convertibles parked in this garage, but having the same car I had before and then having the color I want, the interior I want, and a convertible, and then it has the same trim level, the 2LZ, yeah, it's a major win. So a lot of people question whether or not they should get an E-Ray. I am not like this E-Ray advocate. I'm a C8 Stingray. I love the C6. That's my favorite. ZR1 C6 is my favorite Corvette. The C5 too as well, but Z06. But C5 Z06 and then the C6 Z06. Oof, love those. But I don't have any regrets, because I think now that this is my second E-Ray and I got something different, I'm experiencing the coupe first and then the convertible. Now I can't go back to a coupe at all. I used to care about seeing the engine, and yeah, I don't really care to see the engine anymore. I like to just hit that button and I'm off. It's a wrap. Yeah. I like the freedom of just being able to hit that button and it goes up or down. And as remote access via the remote, I'm hoping that in a software update, they update that to where you can let the top up with the remote. And if you remember a while back when the convertibles first launched, one of the GM employees was already using that functionality. And he was saying, oh no, this isn't public yet. Remember that video? So it's definitely possible to have the top raise up with the remote. GM's just going to save that for some future model and say that it's exclusive, unfortunately. But nonetheless, folks, yeah, I love this E-Ray. It's just having the top down on either one of them, the coupe or the convertible. When you hear the engine, it's nice. It's a nice experience. I don't have any modifications to this car except for as far as performance goes. I did lower it, and I put the front lip on. I did the carbon fiber rock guards all around four corners. And people ask me about that, lowering it. This doesn't have the front lift. It has the coilover. Unlike my 24 E-Ray, it had front lift. So you lowering those cars it's a nightmare with the front lift. So I intentionally went for one without the front lift. And it's just coilovers all the way around. So you just need to buy your wrenches and then you crank it down. Now on the convertible versus the coupe apparently has more turns. The convertible weighs more, so I'm assuming that's why it has less turns. I was able to do 8 and 8, but you can do 9, or you can do 10 and 9, I believe. On the coupe, you can do 11 and 12 possibly, but I know someone did 10 and 11 on theirs, and theirs sits about the same height as mine. A little bit lower, it appears to be a little bit lower, but still, it's a good turn on. So you don't need to pay anybody if you don't want to. If you don't have the front lift, you just buy your coilover wrenches and jack it up, take the wheel off and turn it down yourself. 1,500 miles in less than 2 months. In comparison to both my other Corvettes that had 3,000 miles in 12 months each. It goes to show how much I'm ready to really get out there and drive. And that's what it's all about. You buy what you want to buy when it comes, if you're in the market for a C8, whether it's a Stingray, a E-Ray, a Z06 or ZR1, ZR1X, whatever your thing is, I think you really should buy your car. Sometimes people's specs are the same. Like I've seen plenty of people say the red mist with the natural is the way to go. I get it. I just prefer red mist on Corvettes. I think it's the best color for Corvettes. Silver, the blaze silver. I got to admit, if you know, you know, the blaze silver is the one. But red mist, if I'm building out, is probably what I'm gonna order with the natural. So buy your Corvette. Don't buy someone else's Corvette. You can watch all the videos you want on YouTube, and you can listen to all of us, and I'll say us. I'm just some dude posting online, some guy posting online about his experience with his cars. And I think I can speak on the E-Ray now and confidently with the Stingray. I can't speak on the Z06 because I've never officially owned one, and so on. So I try to only speak on cars that I actually own or plan to own, or most times when I say I'm going to do something, you can check my record. It ends up happening. I'm going to do it. And unless something happens, like with the ZR1, I did try to get one. I had the money for it. It just didn't happen because it wasn't supposed to happen. There's timing for everything. And this is why I say you need to only buy your Corvette. Don't buy someone else's Corvette because you're going to find yourself in a pickle and you're going to be like, I shouldn't have done this, especially if you're financing. Because one thing you need to remember is if you're not getting that big discount up front, you're eating up. You got to stay with this car for a minute, because as soon as you buy a car, this depreciating asset is what it is. You're taking the first hit for all that depreciation. So if you keep the car, you're okay. You can come back later. In a couple of years of having the car, you shouldn't take a hit really at all, depending on which car it is. And I say that because there are people that bought Stingrays for 65 or 66, 67. Then they sold them 3 to 4 years later, or two to 4 years later. There's a window here. I'm thinking about the people that I know who did this. I know people who bought a 2020 for 65 and sold it current day for 65. You see? So, or people who bought a 22 and didn't pay markup and end up selling it for what they paid for it. And it's got a bunch of miles on it. So you being the new person of the car, you're gonna have to keep it if you don't get a big discount. Now, people who get a huge discount up front, that depreciation could possibly be gone when you hit that 2-year mark. It should be. And you should really be able to sell it in either, depending on what it is, depending on your mileage, you can make a little money or you can break even like everybody else. But a car like this, man, I kept both other Stingrays, both other C8s. The E-Ray, I kept it for 11 months. The 24 and the 23, I kept it, Stingray, I kept it for 12 months. So I really like the cars, but I don't have a plan this time now. With this car, I really don't have a plan. Like as far as anything else that I'm moving to where I'm going to get rid of this. I'm adding on another car because the Charger EV is out of here. So I'm adding on another car, but I have no intentions of moving away from this one because it's more than enough. Like it looks great. It performs great. Very good on fuel economy. Like some people might question getting a E-Ray over a Z06. But we've already laid it out a million times. Carbon ceramic brakes, no gas guzzler tax. Those two right there, and the beautiful fuel economy that you get. There's a few things as to why the E-Ray is the better purchase for a lot of people, whether they want to admit it or not, who's on the fence. Like there are people out there who literally can't choose between the Z06 and the E-Ray, and they have the money ready to go, or they have the financing ready to go, whatever. They're ready to pull the trigger, and they just can't decide. But if they ask me, again, I've never owned a Z06, but I know plenty of C8 Z06 owners, and they pretty much mirror each other. Don't buy this car if you don't like the gas station. It's a rough ride. I don't have any fun, and I'm getting really high up in the RPMs. Those are things coming from Z06 owners, not my words. But you'll hear people swear by it as the best car ever, but some people just don't like. What could I say is bad about this car? What would be bad? I guess the price definitely could be considered bad. Like if there were no discounts, the price could be considered bad. But if you really want one, you're not going to pay. You're going to try to ignore the price, like I did. But the price on all these cars is really high. And for the E-Ray, some people think it's priced too close to the Z06 and too far from the Stingray. But I don't think it's priced that far from the Stingray. But it is close to the Z06. But then when you start to factor in what it offers in comparison to the Z06, yeah. So some people also prefer this sound over the Z06 flat plane crank. But I don't know. I can't give an analysis of the Z06 because I've never owned one. Obviously, I've had 3 chances to buy one, and I passed every time because I did kind of listen to some of the people who already owned it. They were like, "Man, it's a fun car, but it's a rough one if you want to have, depending on what you're doing. If you're not tracking it, I wouldn't go for it as your like weekend car. Weekend car can be cool, but I plan on driving the car more than just a weekend. So they're like, nah, don't do it, man. Go with something else because, I have this car now and, I have to keep it for a little bit of time. And then some people I know, they took the hit and they traded their Z06s in and took a huge financial hit. But like I said, I don't have any regrets. And this time around, I think I'm having more fun because I realized a couple things, again, after owning a Tesla Model S Plaid, after owning a Tesla Model 3 Performance, the boosted Model Y. These are cars that are really fast. The Model 3 Performance runs neck and neck with this car. So it's about that fun aspect, though. I plan on having a lot of fun with this car, man. I mean, whatever happens, happens, but I have no intentions. There's not another car that I feel like can replace this car. I think I'm just ready to have some fun and get out and drive. And that's what I've been doing. So if you're on the fence about the E-Ray, I don't have any regrets. You might have some regrets. But like I said, this is the second time I bought the car. So I'm certain that and man, just look at it, man. I mean, oh my gosh. I was thinking about getting wheels and exhaust, but the wheels I want are like $5,000. I'm like, I don't think these wheels are exclusive to the E-Ray. So that is another reason why I kind of steer clear of getting wheels, maybe put some spacers on the rear, but I drive this car kind of hard and I don't really trust spacers yet. So I'm just going to take it slow. That's it. It's your man, Jay. Hope you guys enjoyed. What pushed you to buy the E-Ray? What pushed you to buy the Z06? What pushed you to buy the Stingray? Not very many ZR1 owners out there yet, but what was your deciding factor for getting the E-Ray if you got one? And what made you get the Z06 or what made you get the Stingray? I think I said it before, a lot of times, a lot of people are just priced out. And it's not a flex to pay cash for the car. It's just me being realistic. I don't want, nor can I afford to fit something like that into my budget. I am very disciplined and I'm going to stick to my budget. And so and I had a guy tell me, well, technically you can afford it because you paid cash for it. Well, I guess if you look at it that way, yeah, but I'm looking at longevity and you do the math on a 5% interest on $100,000+ car. It's going to be a lot. Yeah, not happening with me. But respect, it's not a diss or anything like that, but I'm talking about my budget and what I feel like I can handle or what I'm willing to do. I'm not willing to pull money over time, slowly over time, and pay a bunch of interest. All the other cars I had were 0 interest rate finance. Like all the other cars that I financed, they were 0 interest rate, so no interest. And I'm trying to keep that rule in place, no interest being paid. So it's been going pretty good lately. I haven't always gotten 0, but most of the time I've gotten like 3 or less or 4 or less, depending on the car. But I do plan on putting another, hopefully the 0 interest rate kicks in by the time the Charger thing is officially over. Yeah, anyway, the E-Ray is a lot of fun. And I really hope more people get to experience it before it's discontinued. Because once this car, if they stop production on this car, like next year, it's going to be an onslaught. You even might see dealers trying to raise the price of the car. You might see it. It's your man, Jay. If you guys enjoyed, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.